Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking. I know I haven't posted a video for a week. I was in London. I had food poisoning. I managed to forget my PIN code for my bank card on the very first day when I arrived. But it wasn't a shock really. There was a Neptune-Mercury opposition. So yeah, that's how it played out for me. But this time around, I wanted to speak to you about Mercury in Libra. So if you have got this natal placement, this video will help you to understand what Mercury might mean in the sign of Libra. And also, if you have got Mercury transiting your Libra house cusp, then also it will give you some clues as well what to prepare for. So without any further ado, let's get started. And by the way, if you would like to have a reading with me or Tsveti, then I've got some openings from the third week of September. So please go on my website, AstroViktor.com, and then you can book me in. So Mercury in Libra, I mean, it's not necessarily the easiest position for Mercury on one hand, because it's a peregrine position. Now, I don't think I've spoken about a peregrine planet before, so I will do so. Peregrine planet means that it has no essential dignity in a sign. So each planet has got 5 faces. And it rules a sign, it can be exalted in a sign, it can rule a sign by triplicity, or it can have strength by term and face as well. And altogether, that's what we call as essential dignity. Now, if Mercury has no strength whatsoever in the sign of Libra, it means that the planet is peregrine. Now, peregrine is kind of like a wanderer. So it feels there like an alien. But considering the fact that Libra is an air sign and Mercury is considered as an airy planet as well. So overall, it's not necessarily bad. But when you are examining a peregrine planet in your natal chart, what you should be doing is you should be looking at the dispositor of that planet. So the dispositor is always the ruler of that sign. This time around, it's going to be Venus. Now, if Venus is actually in a very good position in your natal chart, then eventually Mercury will hand over to Venus, and then its qualities will depend on the strength of the planet which rules that given sign. So this time around, Venus is actually also in the sign of Libra as well, which means for us that this Mercury is not necessarily too bad. And on top of that, you should also look at the exaltation ruler of that sign also, which is Saturn in this case. Now, Saturn is also in rulership because it's in the sign of Aquarius. So overall, I would say that this Mercury in Libra position is quite strong. Now, the reason why Mercury in Libra is important for us this year, because this will be the very last retrograde period. He will also start, and that's going to be happening sometimes at the end of September. On top of my head, I think it's the 27th of September. So, as I mentioned, in order for you to understand your Mercury in Libra, you must also look at Venus as well in the chart, and then you will get a clearer picture how it might play out in your natal chart. Now, Libra is actually a warm and moist sign, so it has got quite loads of air quality. It's a masculine sign, or we can also call it as a yang sign, and it's the temple of Venus, meaning that Venus rules this sign. Now, Mercury will take on plenty of the Venusian qualities this time around, but how the ancient astrologers approached any of the planets being in a given sign, they also looked at the exalted position, and they also looked at the fall and the detriment position of that sign as well. And that's how they put together the qualities of each planet. So Mercury is peregrine, no essential dignity here. So its qualities really depend on the rulers, which is Saturn and Venus this time around. But both of them are in rulership, so actually this Mercury plays out pretty nicely. Now, Mercury is the planet of discussions and the way you process things mentally. And Libra is a very diplomatic sign. So you might notice that your discussion skills will be a lot more diplomatic. It is very much of a heady energy, really, because Libra is an air sign also, so it's an intellectual one, and Mercury loves thinking. So you might notice that your brain is running 24/7, and then you are looking at new opportunities. Don't forget that the exalted position of this sign is Saturn, which is all about work and commitment. So your brain can be a lot more committed to ideas, for instance, or you want to pursue actually something. Also, Libra is about creating harmony. And because it's a Venusian sign, Mercury wants to kind of create something in an artistic way. Now, Mercury rules the hands, so it's actually very possible that you are, like, let's say a hand model, right? Or you just want to be using your hands to draw something or knitting or whatever actually you can be good at. It's very possible that you want to be starting conversations about the topic of your Libra house. So for instance, in my case, the Libra cusp is on the 8th house. So it might be that I'm going to be talking about death a lot more, or I'm going to be talking about transformation and something to do with the inner anger and with our fears and so forth. But I can tell you, for instance, we agreed already a couple of days ago with my best friend that he's going to be visiting me on the 8th of September. And actually, we're going to be writing our will because we are at that age where we should be doing that. And actually, that's very much of an 8th house topic as well. Now, Mercury tends to be very analytical, so you can become very analytical, a little bit nitty-gritty as well about that house cusp, wherever your 8th house is. And remember that the sun is actually in full position in the sign of Libra, which means to us that the sun is actually setting now. So it started its darker phases. So Mercury in Libra has got that darker side, and Venus has got the darker side as well, because the sun enters the underworld here. Now, what does that exactly mean to us? Remember that Venus rules, for instance, 2 signs, and one of them is Taurus, the other one is Libra. Now, Libra is a masculine sign, so obviously Venus being a feminine planet, even though it's in rulership, it's going to have its struggles a little bit, because I'm going to have to express somehow the masculine side of Venus also, meaning that I'm going to be a lot more initiative. And Libra is actually a cardinal sign. So there is an element of a darker sign. So basically, each planet has got their feminine expression and masculine expression as well. And this time around, that Mercury is more on the masculine side. Now, Mercury represents busy places, for instance. So because Libra is all about marriage commitment, actually, it might be very possible that these marriage offices, these registry offices are going to be very, very busy this time around. Or Libra rules, for instance, over bridges. So it's very possible that there is going to be traffic jam, Mercury traffic, on the bridges, because maybe they are going to be building the bridges or something like that. So this is how you can put the 2 energies together. Mercury is a trickery energy as well, so it does rule over people who want to scam you. So, for instance, it's very possible that on these relationship applications, the application itself is Mercury, and the relationship department comes because of the Libra qualities. You're going to be seeing these people who are very nice to you for a couple of days, and then eventually what's going to happen is that they're going to block you or they will disappear. So don't be shocked about these type of things. But talking about this scamming, that's also very possible that they want to gain some business transactions out of you. And remember that Mercury is the business transaction, right? So very possible. Also, I would say that Mercury rules over things like money exchange and the markets, for instance. So not just necessarily the stock markets, but these flea markets thing. So just pay attention that when you are going to do some shopping, because Libra loves shopping, it's one of the most vain sign that you are going to be keeping an eye on your wallet, on your purse, because it's very possible that someone tries to nick some money from you. And Mercury rules over thieves as well. But Mercury is also something to do with group activities, and Libra is all about socializing. So it's very possible that we've got that desire, or we are thinking about gathering together with people, with our friends, and maybe to have a bigger party and so forth. But the number one meaning of Mercury is something to do with your way of thinking, how you perceive things mentally. And Libra is all about adjustments. Mercury is the mind. So it kind of indicates to us that our mind might want to make some type of adjustments around the topics of that Libra house, whatever it is in your chart. Libra actually loves art. And Mercury, as I mentioned, is a very busy planet. So it's very possible that, for instance, art galleries will be very busy in the upcoming couple of months. Libra likes attracting people. It likes looking into the mirror. So you might be noticing that actually you want to be attracting more intellectual people, or you might be just attracting these wise and clever people into your life, and then you enjoy talking to them. So attractive mind, basically, if we put Mercury and Libra together. But I think the number one message, what Mercury in Libra might be telling you, is that you're going to have to balance out your mind a little bit. So is my brain running 24/7, or can I sometimes rest as well? So one of the reasons why I chose the background picture was because that's a scale, and Libra represents scale. So, and Mercury loves being analytical. So the shadow side of this is that sometimes it goes way too far with this, and then it measures the pros and the cons, and then eventually the opportunities go by, pass by. So you do need to be sometimes acting a little bit quicker and using the Libra quality, which is, you know, it's all about cardinal energy. So it's initiation, that we need to act on things a lot quicker. Both the sign and the planet are extremely communicative. So it's very possible that we're going to be speaking to, we want to be making some business negotiations with others. Or it's also very possible that we want to be speaking to our partner about something which has been kind of pressing our chest for a very long time. So Libra is the sign of companionship, and Mercury is the talking element to it. So speaking to a partner in the next 20 odd days actually could be very beneficial. Mercury in Libra has got this kind of classy looking, more like the black and white picture type of qualities. So actually you might notice that there is going to be a lot more black and white pictures appearing on social media channels, for instance. So Libra is something which is about strategy and decision making, and Libra, Mercury can be sometimes a little bit indecisive. So it can actually indicate that you might need to be making a decision about that house cusp, wherever the Libra is in your chart. And you're going to be weighing out the pros and the cons, and then you don't necessarily know what to do. Now, Libra actually can suggest that you should be sitting down with someone else, maybe with your partner, and then speak about this, and maybe they will be able to shed some light for you. Because remember that Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in the sign of Libra also. So the partner actually can be a little bit stronger as well. Mercury in Libra is quite posed, and it also has got that mature quality, because remember, Saturn is the exalted ruler of Libra, so which is all about growing up to that mental level where maybe I'm not gonna be that judgmental. or I'm going to be committing to my decision, which I had made previously. So one of the darker side of this aspect is that we want to be pleasing others. And the way we talk to people around us is very soothing and calming. And I don't know actually how to just say out loud what my real opinions are. And then, of course, it can become a little bit misleading as well. So Libra is very diplomatic, very polite. So our communication style can become basically very polite. Both the sign and the planet are very reasonable. They love reasoning. So it could lead to some type of intelligent kind of like arguments, but not necessarily arguments, you know, when like my friend, we usually do talk about things which we don't necessarily agree on, but we don't necessarily go into a fight. We just kind of try to reason about, you know, this is the reason why we should do that. This is the reason why we shouldn't be doing that. So Libra rules over beauty. And the Mercury is, for instance, the hand, the fingers. So you might actually notice that you have got this craving to go for a manicure, for instance, or you might notice that you've got some wrinkles on your hand and then you want to be buying this hand cream. That's also very possible. Because Libra is something which is all about beauty, harmony, making adjustments. It's one of the most vain signs of all. Our mind can become very strategic this time around. So it can have that business approach to things. Or it can have a kind of like a strategy when it comes to business transactions. But Libra also talks about court cases. And Mercury represents the youth. So it's very possible that people are, or we're going to be reading a lot more about juvenile delinquency, for instance, or just some type of court cases around that, I don't know, a mom did this to their children and so forth. You know, there are those periods of time when it actually happens. Or it's very possible that you're going to have a legal case coming up because of your kids, especially who is the kid going to live with, the father or the mom. Or you might just see that actually your child at school has got kind of a different behavior. And then you're going to have to go and then see the principal about it, who is going to kind of make a justice around it. Now, Libra is actually the sign of justice, and Mercury is all about the way of communication. So we actually want to get justified when we want to speak to others. So we want to be heard, we want to be listened to, we want to be understood a little bit more, or we just want someone to nod actually that they got what you meant to say. This is a very artistically sophisticated combination, but usually they like making something beautiful out of dark. So I think Libra is actually quite a traditional sign, to be frank. So it's very possible that when it comes to fashion, for instance, that things like, which was very popular 30 years ago, it might pop back in again during this season. But it's going to be a little bit more modern because Mercury is actually a modern quality. So Mercury in Libra actually says things in a very nice way. But I would like to point out that Libra is one of the 4 violent signs as well. So it's very possible that they say things in a very nice way, but then, you know, the knife slips into your back when you're actually not looking. And that's very much the lower manifestation of Mercury in Libra. So it could be that people are going to be speaking about you, or you get into a little bit of a scandal, or you become a victim of any type of gossip. But kind of like with this Libra element, there is a little bit of a sugar coat around it. But at the same time, the poison is also there. Now, of course, a healthy Mercury in Libra wants to get along with everyone. It wants to be honest. It kind of wants to listen to both sides of the story as well. But when it comes to making that decision, who is right and who is wrong, it's kind of impossible. And that's the reason why, you are right. And then, but I don't want to be kind of in the middle. But I always feel I fall into the middle of this debate, for instance. Mercury in Libra is quite flirtatious. So it's actually easy to attract someone who is younger this time around. And because of that intellectual connection with the other person. And you might notice that every single conversation is delightful and it has got a meaning to it. But Mercury in Libra also has got this passive aggressive side to it as well. So this is a transit which definitely reminds us that we just have to be staying, we just have to be, we don't have to justify everything all the time, and we need to be accepting other people's truth as well, okay? Now, there is also a very serious quality to Mercury in Libra, and that's because of the Saturnian quality of that exalted position. So Mercury in Libra tends to be a lot more serious thinker than, for instance, Mercury in Taurus, which I'm not going to be speaking about today. But having Mercury in Libra, it's a lot easier to see other people's point of view as well. It very much talks about rational, intellectual function of this Mercury this time around. Libra talks about equality in a sense. So it's very possible that equality, marriage opportunities, or who can get married, who cannot get married, type of things are going to be popping up in social media, or people will be talking about that a lot more. But maybe this time around, hopefully a lot more politely and maybe a little bit more quietly as well. Mercury in Libra can be very much focused on diplomacy, and then it ends up sitting on the edges of the fence or the benches, and then, the decision is never going to get made. So definitely pay attention to that. Publicity for the wrong reason is also very possible with Mercury in Libra. But it can also be very easy to talk to others. Sometimes it's like as smooth as honey. So they can talk you into something which you might regret later on. Remember, Libra is a cardinal sign, which means that sometimes it just goes ahead and then makes those decisions as well without thinking. But the higher manifestation of Mercury in Libra is talking in a fair and honest way, and basically with creation of some integrity, and that's again the Saturnian quality of the exalted position. Let's just have a look at from a medical perspective. So Mercury rules over your tongue, your brain, arms, fingers, the central nervous system, the hormonal system, the respiratory system in your chart. And Libra is all about the balance. So it's actually possible to get nervous, and then because I don't know how to balance out my life. Libra is something to do with your kidneys, the uterus and the bladders. So actually you might see that these parts of your body is actually overworking. But also Libra could be talking about how to regulate the acid and the alkaline balance within the body, or it's overall something to do with your metabolism. So you might see that your hormone level can be a little bit all over the place. So that's something to be mindful about. Also, that you might see that you start thinking about having more sweets or kind of like savory tooth in a sense. So all type of indulgence in activities, pleasure or diet, kind of with Libra needs to be minimized a little bit. Or you might actually see that your kidney region of your body is a little bit more sensitive. So actually it's good to put, I don't know, a scarf there, or, you know, something a little bit hotter. You know, a little bit, the exercise is a little bit always harder for Libra. It's usually a big effort for them because they tend to want to get involved more like in the social types of sports as well. So going to the gym might be a little bit harder for Libra actually. Adrenal exhaustion is very possible with Mercury in Libra. So Libra usually needs plenty of encouragement, optimism, harmony, something to do with pleasant surroundings. So with that Mercury, something which is handmade or handwritten and all those type of things are very important. Typically, when it comes to the Libra diet, you know, we need to be careful when it comes to the very rich type of food. It needs plenty of water. The acid alkaline type of diet we can start thinking about. And Libra needs plenty of green veggies as well. Brown rice, seaweeds, very good for them. And something to do with juices as well. So think about it, it rules the kidneys. So somehow we need to rebalance the kidneys, the skin, and the body in general when it comes to the Libra in Mercury energies. So this is a short video about Mercury in Libra. I hope it helps you understand your chart a little bit more. Thank you for your attention and see you shortly. Bye-bye.